Bayes University is in a league of its own. We're all about our people, processes, and technology.
Bayes is one of the highly rated universities in Nigeria in terms of product quality standards.
We don't just produce graduates, but groom people into employers of labor.
And it has made us understand that learning is all about three things. We learn, we unlearn, and we relearn.
Bayes University Hospital offers a range of specialized services equipped with the latest technology, manned by a team of trusted professionals. And now, our vision extends beyond our walls with the Baba Ahmed University in Kano following our lead. Join us at Bayes University and invest in your future today.
Bayes University is the institution that you will get the best value for money education in Nigeria.
Bayes University. Learn to live.
On the Global TV News Express, Tinubu rules out return of fuel subsidy, says decision painful but necessary. Civil society ready for dialogue. And in business, Nigeria's exchange rate depreciated by 6.43% in July. And in sports, and the ongoing Olympics, Favour Ofili qualifies for the women's 200-meter semi-final. Hello and welcome to News Express here on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I'm Ethikan Michael. I'd like to remind you that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, and Star Times, channel 276. And now on the News Express. President Bola Tinubu, in a live broadcast, has appealed to the protesting youth to suspend all forms of protests across the country, saying that his government provides solution to the country's challenges. He says he spoke to the heavy heart and the sense of responsibility away of the turmoil and the violent protests unleashed in some of the state. President Bola Tinubu has ordered immediate suspension of the End Bad Governance protests in the country. Tinubu met the order in a live broadcast. He appealed and addressed to Nigerians following the ongoing youth protests across the country. The president advised Nigerian youth to create room for dialogue, noting that violence and destruction of properties will not solve the problem. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu says that the federal government has released 570 billion naira to the 36 states of the federation to expand livelihood support to Nigerians. Speaking during a national broadcast to Nigerians as a result of the hunger protests embarked upon by citizens, the president added that while 600,000 nano businesses have benefited from the federal government's nano grant, an additional 400,000 more nano businesses are expected to benefit. And our President Bola Tinubu says he has ordered the release of additional 50 billion naira for the student loan scheme. Tinubu disclosed this in a national broadcast to Nigerians. The president was addressing Nigerians following a nationwide protest staged by some youth in the country. The protesters are demanding the return of fuel subsidy and reversal of all the policies of the administration, which they claim are anti-masses. While calling on the protesters to suspend the protest, the president described his administration as youth-friendly, as it has initiated programs such as the student loan scheme to support the youth population. Now, troops of the Nigerian Army have arrested a notorious gun runner on the transit to deliver the high-caliber weapons to terrorists and intercepted a truck conveying illegally refined automated gas oil. The troops also successfully rescued the kidnapped victims while on transit in Kaduna State. The Army said vigilant troops, in collaboration with other security agencies, intercepted the notorious gun runner Malam Hashim Ahmed in the Lere local government area of the state. The president, in a national broadcast to Nigerians on Sunday morning, disclosed that even though the decision to remove the fuel subsidy was painful, it was necessary because it has constituted news around the economic jungle of the nation and impeded over the economic development and progress. The president also told the protesters that the law enforcement agencies will continue to ensure the full protection of lives and properties of innocent citizens in a responsible manner. And now the United Action Front of Civil Society says organized civil society is ready for dialogue with the federal government on the ongoing nationwide protests and the challenges in the country. Mr. Olawale Okoneyi, head of coordinating secretariat of the Universe, who said this in an interview in Lagos, says that civil society groups will honor the government's invitation for talks on addressing citizens' concerns. It was reported that the president in his broadcast called for the suspension of all protests to create room for dialogue. Hours after President Bola Tinubu's live broadcast, the protesters in Edo State suspended their demonstration out of respect for the president. A protest which started on August 1st at the popular Ring Road in Benin and its environs was halted following the president broadcast at 7 a.m. Following the broadcast, the protesters promptly removed the podium at the Ring Road. Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa has appealed to Nigerians to be civil and peaceful while exercising the right. He also warned those who may want to hide under the guise of protests to perpetrate violence to rescind their decisions. The defense chief gave the warning and appeal while briefing newsmen on the ongoing nationwide against hunger and bad governance at the defense headquarters in Abuja. Our correspondent Kikolo Mokere tells us more.
The Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa noted that the security operative, especially the police, are very professional in handling the protest, calling on Nigerians to show understanding with the federal government.
We want to appeal to Nigerians to understand that the federal government is doing the best it can for the country. The federal government, the present regime is just there for less than 1 year, and it is not possible for them to have solved every financial, economic, security situation within 1 year.
The Chief of Defense Staff further stated that the military will not fold its hands and watch the country drift into anarchy, pointing out that the military is watching and will step in if the situation gets out of Nigerians.
Just to give an update as to the situation that's ongoing, we're all aware of what happened yesterday. The government have actually shown its own commitment by upholding its promise to allow people to associate freely without any rancor. But I'm sure everyone is disappointed with the outcome.
He added that the government is doing its best to address the economic situation in the country, urging the citizens to hold the local and state government more accountable. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The Arewa Concerned Citizens Forum has backed the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa's call for immediate blackout on the ongoing nationwide protests. The forum expressed its support in a statement signed by its national coordinator, Dr. Victor Babi, Assistant Secretary Moses Eneche, and Director of Media and Publicity Malam Ibrahim. The CDS had previously asked both international and local media to stop covering the 10-day nationwide protests, which began on Thursday. Musa, who made the call during a press conference in Abuja, argued that many of the protesters were attention seekers who wanted moments in the media. Now, Sokoto State Police Commissioner Ali Kigama has confirmed the arrest of over 81 people during the first day of the nationwide hunger protesters. The command spokesman, ASP Hamid Rufai, who disclosed this in a press statement which was made available to newsmen, assures adequate security and urges the good people of the Caliphate to avoid any form of criminality before and during the protest. The statement added that the residents have rights to protest but frowned at destruction of public infrastructure, as many violent protesters will be arrested for destruction of public properties and will be caused to face the full wrath of the law. And our Minister of Steel Development, Shaibu Haldu, has appealed to Nigerians to suspend the nationwide protest against hunger and poverty. Shaibu made the call in a statement issued by Special Assistant and Media Lizzie Okoji in Abuja, urging Nigerians to embrace dialogue in addressing all their concerns regarding the difficulties being faced in the country. The city of Kano has remained calm following the decision by the state government to impose a 24-hour curfew on the state after the protests against hunger that turned into violence and massive looting of public properties across the state capital. The situation compelled Governor Bayusif to impose a 24-hour curfew on the state to prevent further spread of massive destruction and looting, as well as to protect lives and properties. The mayhem, which was carried out by hoodlums during the phase A of the protest, brought socio-economic activities to a standstill as law-abiding residents had remained indoors to avoid possible attacks from miscreants. Hoodlums disrupted the fourth day of the peaceful protest at Gani Fayemi Park in Ojota, Lagos State. The demonstrations, which began without incident, saw a significant escalation around 10:30 am. The police intervened at attempting to persuade the remaining protesters to disperse. A moment later, a group of individuals whom the protesters alleged were hired to disrupt the event emerged from across the street and began chasing them away. Hoodlums have invaded the Living Faith Church in Daura local government area of Katsina State, looting about 205 chairs, musical instruments, and other valuable items worth millions of naira. The attacks took place in the wake of the End Bad Governance nationwide protest, with attendant violent clashes between hoodlums and security operatives. The pastor in charge of the church, David Gatto, discloses, lamenting that they couldn't hold Sunday service in the auditorium of the church because the hoodlums went away with everything inside the church building during the protest. And now, Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka has disabused the minds of the public regarding the misconceptions about the pirate confraternity, saying that the registered association is not a bloody, thirsty secret cult, but an association founded to push for justice and advance the betterment of the country. The world-renowned scholar discloses at the 26th annual Wole Soyinka lecture organized by the National Association of Sea Dogs, otherwise known as Pirate Confraternity, to mark the 90th birthday of Soyinka, who, alongside the 6 other undergraduates of the University of Ibadan, founded the group in 1952. You're watching News Express, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on DSTV, channel 365, and Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platform using our Global TV engine or the handles now shown on the screen. When News Express returns, Nigeria's exchange rate depreciated by 6.43% in July, despite the CBN's FX sales. We'll bring you these and other stories right after this break. Do stay with us. You're still watching News Express here on Global Television. Many thanks for staying with us. And now, Nigeria's exchange rate closed July 2024 at the 1,608.73 naira to $1, making a 6.43% depreciation on the official market for the month. According to the data, the naira performed at a 4-month low in July, fluctuating between a low of 1,500.32 naira and a high of 1,621.12 naira, breaching the 1,600 naira ceiling. The depreciation occurred despite the effort of the Central Bank of Nigeria to save the official markets from the liquidity to the dollar sales. And now, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has clarified that it has neither suspended nor halted the Arik Air's flight operations. The airline's flight continues as scheduled, and its ability to operate its remaining fleet remains unaffected. This clarification was provided in a statement signed by the authority's Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Michael Achimugu, in Abuja. Achimugu stated that the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority is duty-bound to comply with the court order attaching Arik Air's aircraft following the determination of its case at the Supreme Court, ensuring the compliance with regulatory and safety standards. And more news to business. Central bank governors in Africa have expressed their concern over the rising cost of borrowing by African nations, stressing that the efficient development of the continent cannot be achieved at the current rate. The governors, advocating a drastic cut in the cost of borrowing, said these positions will be submitted at the forthcoming International Monetary Funds and the World Bank annual meetings, while canvassing for the adoption of a common position by the African continent. And now, heading to a foreign scene, Republican presidential candidate in the United States November election, Donald Trump, says he has agreed to debate his Democratic opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, on the Fox News on September 4. It was not immediately clear if Harris had agreed to the debate. Trump's post came hours after the Vice President secured the Democratic Party nomination as a standard bearer in the November presidential election. Police arrested dozens of people after the protests across the path of England and the Northern Ireland turned violent as the government pledged tough actions against those it said were exploiting the mother of 3 girls to stir up the disorder. The violent protests involving the hundreds of anti-immigration groups have erupted in towns and cities across the Britain after 3 girls were killed in a knife attack at the children's dance class in the Southport in northwest England. France urged its citizens in Iran and Lebanon to leave the countries due to the risks of military escalation in the Middle East. The Foreign Ministry said in 2 separate travel advisories, the French Foreign Ministry recommended citizens residing in Iran to temporarily leave the country given the risks of airspace being closed. The ministry had urged citizens traveling in Iran to leave. And now on to sport news. Former Super Eagles player Victor Ikpeba has asked stakeholders to inject more grassroots football competition initiative into the round leader game to produce more talent for the country. Saturdays in Akure, on the state capital, at a press conference heralding the finals of the annual Akogun football competition scheduled to be held in the Oka Akoko, headquarters of Akoko Southwest local government area of the state. The former African Footballer of the Year said the development of the game should not be left to the government alone. Now, Nigeria's still representative in the men's 100-meter event at the ongoing Olympics in Paris, Kayusola Ayayi and Favour Ashe have booked their spot in the semi-final. While Ajayi won his heart, Ashe qualified as one of the fastest fourth-place finisher. Ajayi outran defending Olympic champion Lamont Marcel Jacob, clogging the 10.02s, while the Italian finished in 10.05s in Heat 5. The Ghana's Abdullah Rashid Smith finished third in 10.06. Now more in the Olympics, Nigeria Favour Leafi ran a season best time of the 22.24 to win her heat and book a spot in the semi-final of the women's 200 meters event. Ofili outran a field that also had Great Britain's Diana Haishats and Gambia's Gina Bays. The Ofili's finishing time put her in overall second place, only behind the United States' Gabrielle Thomas, who ran 22.20 seconds. And now rising Barcelona stars Victor stole the spotlight with a stunning 12-minute brace, leading his team to a 2-0 victory over the arch-rivals Real Madrid and earning the MVP award for the next feature. The match held at the MetLife Stadium was briefly interrupted due to lightning and heavy rain. And as we wrap up the news express, let's take a look at our top stories. Tinubu rules out return of fuel subsidy, says decision painful but necessary. As Tinubu broadcasts, civil society ready for dialogue. In the business news, Nigeria's exchange rates depreciated by 6.43% in July, despite the CBN's forex sales. And in sports, the ongoing Olympics, Favour Ofili qualifies for women's 200-meter semi-final. That's the package of News Express coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all streaming media platforms using @Global TV Engine or the handles now sharing the screen. I'm Edika Michael. Many thanks for watching. See you again.